Marcus sat at the dining table, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly, eyes fixed on nothing in particular. It had been 3 days since it happened, but his mind kept replaying the moment over and over, like a haunting loop he couldn't escape. He never imagined his life would take such a drastic turn, especially not like this, with Ryan, his daughter's boyfriend. It all started innocently enough, at least, that's what Marcus kept telling himself. Polite conversations between them had turned into shared laughter, and eventually, something more. Ryan, at 19, was bold, athletic, and full of energy, qualities that naturally drew admiration. But admiration had quickly turned into something more complicated, something Marcus couldn't suppress. The guilt gnawed at him. He'd never thought about another man before, much less someone his daughter was dating. But when he was around Ryan, he couldn't help but notice the way the young man looked at him, the looks that lingered, the touches that were a little too close, a little too long. Now, Marcus was stuck between his desires and his morals, his heart battling with his mind. He never thought he'd be the kind of man who crossed such lines. The first time something happened between them, it was on a quiet afternoon. Lucy had gone out shopping with friends, leaving Marcus and Ryan alone in the house. They had started out casually, watching TV, but Marcus could feel the air shifting between them, charged with an unspoken tension. Ryan sat on the couch next to him, closer than usual. Their thighs brushed, and neither of them pulled away. Marcus could feel the warmth of Ryan's skin through his jeans, the subtle pressure igniting something deep inside him. He shifted, uncomfortable, but Ryan's presence was intoxicating. When Marcus glanced over, he found Ryan's gaze fixed on him. There was a spark in his eyes, something daring, something dangerous. Ryan smirked, leaning in. "You know, Marcus, I've always thought you were different." Marcus froze. "Different?" "Yeah," Ryan's voice dropped, turning almost seductive. "There's something about you." Before Marcus could respond, Ryan's hand was on his knee, squeezing gently. Marcus's breath caught in his throat, his heart racing as Ryan leaned in closer, their faces only inches apart. "We shouldn't," Marcus whispered, but his words trailed off as Ryan's lips brushed against his. The kiss was soft, tentative, but it sent a shock through Marcus, awakening a desire he hadn't known existed. For a moment, Marcus pulled back, guilt washing over him. But when Ryan's hand slid up his thigh, his resistance crumbled. Their kiss deepened, growing more passionate, more desperate, as if they were both trying to drown out the voices telling them this was wrong. After that first kiss, things became awkward between them. Every time they were left alone, the air felt thick with unspoken words, with forbidden desire. Marcus found himself avoiding Ryan, even though he couldn't stop thinking about him. But Ryan wasn't going to let Marcus off that easily. One evening, after dinner, Lucy went to bed early, leaving Marcus and Ryan alone in the living room. The atmosphere was charged, and Marcus could feel Ryan's eyes on him. He tried to ignore it, focusing on the television, but his body betrayed him. He could feel the pull, the magnetic tension that had been growing between them. Ryan moved closer, sitting beside Marcus on the couch. Their knees brushed, sending a spark through Marcus's body. He glanced over at Ryan, his pulse quickening. "Marcus," Ryan whispered, his voice low and husky. "I can't stop thinking about what happened between us." Marcus swallowed hard, his mouth dry. "Ryan, we can't." Before he could finish, Ryan leaned in, capturing his lips in a kiss. This time, Marcus didn't resist. He kissed Ryan back with a hunger that surprised him, his hands sliding into Ryan's hair as their bodies pressed together on the couch. Ryan's hands roamed over Marcus's chest, then lower, his fingers teasing the waistband of his jeans. Marcus gasped as Ryan's hand slipped inside, touching him in ways that made his mind go blank. He knew this was wrong, but in that moment, he didn't care. All he could think about was the way Ryan made him feel, alive, desired, and completely out of control. They kissed for what felt like hours, their bodies tangled together on the couch. But when they finally pulled apart, the weight of what they were doing crashed down on Marcus. He pushed Ryan away, his chest heaving as he stood up. "We have to stop this," Marcus said, his voice shaking. "This is wrong. Lucy will." "Lucy doesn't have to know," Ryan interrupted, standing up and grabbing Marcus's hand. "This can be our secret." Marcus looked into Ryan's eyes, his resolve crumbling. He wanted to stop, but he couldn't. He wanted Ryan too much. Over the next few weeks, Marcus and Ryan's affair intensified. Every time Lucy left the house, they would steal moments together, kissing in the kitchen, touching in the living room, making love in Marcus's bed. The thrill of their secret made it even more intoxicating, but the guilt was always there, lurking in the background. One night, after Lucy had gone to bed, Marcus and Ryan found themselves alone in the kitchen. Ryan moved behind Marcus, wrapping his arms around his waist and kissing the back of his neck. Marcus closed his eyes, leaning into Ryan's touch as his hands slid under Marcus's shirt, caressing his chest. "You drive me crazy," Ryan whispered against Marcus's skin. "I can't get enough of you." Marcus turned around, capturing Ryan's lips in a hungry kiss. They stumbled back against the counter, their bodies pressed together as their hands explored each other. Ryan's fingers found the button of Marcus's jeans, and soon they were both panting, lost in the heat of the moment. But just as things were getting intense, the sound of footsteps echoed down the hall. Marcus froze, his heart racing as he pulled away from Ryan, his mind racing with panic. "Marcus?" Lucy's voice called from the hallway. "Are you still up?" Ryan quickly buttoned his jeans, his chest heaving as he looked at Marcus with wide eyes. "Yeah," Marcus called back, his voice shaky. "Just getting a drink of water." Lucy appeared in the doorway, her eyes narrowing as she looked between Marcus and Ryan. For a moment, Marcus thought she might have figured out what was going on, but then she smiled, completely unaware of the tension in the room. "Don't stay up too late," she said, yawning as she turned to head back to bed. Marcus let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding, his body still buzzing with adrenaline. Ryan smirked, leaning in to whisper in his ear. "That was close." As their affair continued, Marcus's guilt became harder to ignore. He found himself avoiding Lucy, unable to look her in the eye, terrified that she might see the truth. He loved his daughter, but he couldn't stop what was happening between him and Ryan. The connection they shared was too powerful, too consuming. One evening, while Lucy was out late again, Marcus and Ryan were in the living room, caught up in another heated moment. They were kissing on the couch, their bodies tangled together, when the front door suddenly opened. Lucy walked in, her eyes widening as she saw them together, Ryan's hand on Marcus's chest, their faces too close, their guilt written all over them. "Marcus? Ryan? What the hell is going on?" Lucy's voice was a mixture of confusion and betrayal. Marcus stepped back, panic gripping him. "Lucy, I can explain." "Explain what?" Lucy's voice cracked, her eyes filling with tears. "You've been with him. Behind my back." Ryan tried to calm her down, stepping forward. "Lucy, it's not what you think." "Not what I think," she shouted, her voice shaking. "I can see exactly what's going on." The truth was out, and there was no going back. Lucy stormed out of the house, leaving Marcus and Ryan standing in stunned silence. The weight of what they had done came crashing down on them both. Over the following days, Lucy refused to speak to either of them. Marcus's guilt weighed on him like a boulder, crushing him. He had destroyed his relationship with his daughter, and for what? A fleeting affair that had spiraled out of control. Ryan, too, seemed distant, the thrill of their secret affair fading under the harsh light of reality. One night, Ryan came to Marcus, his expression serious. "I think I need to leave," he said quietly. "Lucy's never going to forgive us, and I don't want to make things worse." Marcus nodded, though his chest ached at the thought of losing Ryan. "I understand." They shared one final kiss, slow, tender, full of everything they hadn't been able to say. And then Ryan was gone, leaving Marcus alone to pick up the pieces of